Hi everybody. Today we're going to make a very simple macro that puts a square around an object. So I made a little circle here. I'm going to hit Alt F11 on my keyboard to bring up the Visual Basic Editor. I'm going to right click on this GMS file that I created earlier, and I'm going to insert a new module. I'm going to give it a quick name, as I always do, and I'm going to start by making a sub. This is a public sub, so it will show up in my Tools, Options, Customization area of Draw. So we're going to go Make, Rect, just give it any old name you want. We're going to declare an object, and we're going to make that object S. So we're going to dim S as shape. We're going to declare some variables. Dim X as double. A double value is a decimal. Why did I type that twice? And then we're going to do Y. And you can use it, if you ever see this sign, it's the shorthand sign for as double, or declaring Y as a double. So we'll just do shorthand. And we'll go height, and we'll do width. These are some values that I am declaring, variables. Okay, now we're going to set our S. Remember, S is an object, so we have to use the set keyword. So set S equal Control J on my keyboard brings up the context menu, and then I'll hit active, scroll down shape. Set S to equal the active shape. This is the currently selected shape. Okay, and now we're going to make a condition. What if nothing's selected and you run the macro? We don't want to have an error, so we'll do if S is nothing, then exit sub. Is nothing is used for objects. We're not going to say if S equals 0. For objects we say is nothing. Okay, so if S is nothing, there is no active shape that was able to be set, then we'll just exit sub. It just kills it right then and there. Okay, now we're going to S dot on the keyboard, and this brings up the context menu with methods and properties for S. So S dot, and then we're going to, a very popular function or method, get bounding box. I hit tab on my keyboard to select it, hit a space. Here it shows you the parameters for that function. Notice the square brackets, that means this one's optional. These are mandatory. They are not in square brackets. Okay, and we don't do this because we're not returning anything. Some functions you'll see this, we're not going to do that here. So X, Y, and we'll go width, height. By ref, this method, this function, will fill these variables with values. Okay, now we're going to need to create a new shape. So let's do srect as shape. Now we're going to set this one too. We're going to set srect, and you notice I didn't capitalize it. VBA will do this for you automatically, so you don't have to. Set srect equal, I hit Control J on my keyboard, and we'll go active. You'll do a lot of stuff on the active layer. Dot, and then we'll go. You can create a lot of things on the active layer. So we're going to create a rectangle. We scroll all the way down here, and we use create rectangle too because it's very easy. And this time we will use the parentheses here because we are returning something. Okay? Whenever you do something like this, you're returning a value, you use the parentheses. If we were just going to do active layer dot create rectangle, and then that would be an error. This one we would not use the parentheses. So we're going to go X, Y, width, height. And these are the, you can see here, and here's some optional values. You can do radius for the corners. It'll create a rectangle with radius corners. But the first parameters for this function are mandatory because they are not in square brackets. And I think we can run this function now. So let's move this window to the side. Let's not select the shape and see what happens. So I'm going to hit F8. Remember, debug, step into F8. That way you can go through it slow and watch what happens. S is nothing. We're exiting. That's it. It just exits over. So this time let's select something. I'm going to go F8. We just got the bounding box. If we go to our locals window, which is a great window to use, as soon as you pass that function, it fills them values in your locals window. Look at that. Those are the values of X, Y, width, and height of that circle. Okay. So let's continue. Okay, we're gonna, as soon as we hit F8 again, we pass it. Uh-oh. Look what it did. Did I have a value in there wrong? X, Y, width, height. X, Y, width, height. Ah, I see what I did. I left the first thing that I was showing you. So what we do, we put a comment. We're going to comment this one out. And we can actually go to draw and just delete that. We're still in the function here. So now we're going to, that was create rectangle, not to. So it had different values here. So that one's not needed. So let's hit F8. And look what we did. We just created a, and we're still in our function here. We could even go back and do something like this. srect.fill.uniform color, and then we're going to go, let's go CMYK assign. Okay, we don't use the brackets. 100, 0, 0, 0. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to see that in action? Well, we take our arrow here, move it up, and we can hit F8. And look what it did. So let's do one more. We'll go to the end of that, and we'll go srect.order to back. And you can guess what we're going to do here. We're going to take our arrow and move it back. And look, it moved it to the back. So now if I delete that, we can stop, and we can just run the function. Select our shape, run the function, bam. In the next video, I'll show you how to put some margins on this box.